Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for calling this hearing. Thanks again to the witnesses for being here. I want to start with you, Mr. O'Brien, but first let's just do a little bit of context. We are here to diagnose the issue. I think that's diagnose the problem. That's the title of the hearing. So let's just take a look at what the problem is that's staring us right in the face, which is the rise of these giant corporations like Amazon, for example. The biggest corporations in the history of America, the biggest corporations in the history of the world, the richest corporations in the history of the world, they're making money like we've never seen before, but they don't want to pay their workers. A lot of times they don't even want to have workers. They don't want to have American workers. Look at Amazon. Here's their net sales and net income. In 2024, Amazon's net sales topped $600 billion, $637 billion to be exact. Their net income doubled from 2023 to 2024. Doubled. Their CEO is getting paid, let me make sure I get this right, in 2024, Amazon's president earned $40.1 million in total compensation. 40.1. The previous year, he'd earned merely 29.2. I mean, that's an unbelievable, that's great work if you can get it. That's an unbelievable raise. Only problem is, according to their own financial disclosures, Amazon's average worker, average employee worldwide is making $37,181. $37,181. So that's a C-suite to employee ratio of 1,078 to 1. And meanwhile, these guys are fighting you, Mr. O'Brien, every step of the way as you try to get some basic representation for their workers, for their drivers. Tell us about what you've been facing from this company.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you care about putting America back in the hands of hardworking people, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It really helps this channel reach more patriots who believe in the same values that built this country.
I'll get this right at one point. Amazon is probably the largest violator of the NLRA right now. And they have grown significantly, to your point. They focus on 150% turnover ratio in their workforce. They focus on distressed communities. And the number one violator of OSHA, they've got the most violations last time we checked. Now, we have a model that's a similar company that employs similar workforce at United Parcel Service, 340,000 Teamsters that are part-time and full-time. Those part-timers earn full-time benefits, health and welfare and pension. They earn wage increases guaranteed every year. They earn a livable wage. And most importantly, they have a path to a full-time career that on the average, the UPS full-time employee makes about $140,000 per year for doing the same business. And UPS is a very profitable business.
Boy, you talk about $140,000 and change. You talk about that versus $37,000. I'm just thinking back to your reference to rerum novarum, the dignity of the individual. I mean, how are you supposed to raise a family on $37,000? The difference between that and what you've been able to secure at UPS is incredible. Let me just ask you this. Amazon is also one of the biggest offenders when it comes to not negotiating with workers who've decided to unionize. You mentioned Staten Island. I think they're still waiting for a first.
Yeah, Staten Island was organized in 2022 under the ALU. It took a certain amount of time to get certified. Once certified, the intent is to sit down and bargain a contract. We actually represent those workers now. In 3 years, we have not been able to get them to a table. It's been stall tactics, obviously challenging the constitutionality of the NLRA, but also filing charges at the NLRA, NLRB, so they are, contradicting themselves every turn of the way just to use union avoidance. And I believe there was a article in the Economic Policy Institute, which was dead on, that stated, Amazon has zero intention of engaging in real good faith collective bargaining with representatives of Staten Island workers. In fact, their business model, which relies on high worker turnover and avoiding responsibility for their employees, is designed to make union organizing nearly impossible.
In that context, tell us why the Faster Labor Contracts Act is so important. Important to put a shot clock on these big corporations so they can't just say, well, you voted to unionize. Good luck to you. We're never, ever going to sit down and talk to you.
Yeah, the Faster Labor Contracts Act has timelines. It has consequences for bad behavior. And I think it's important that If and when this Faster Labor Contracts Act is passed, bad actors like Amazon will be forced to the table, will be forced to negotiate, and will have to agree to a first-time contract without retaliating against the employees. And you will see a continued workforce that has a future under this Faster Labor.
I just want to say this in conclusion, Mr. Chairman. Many folks on our side of the aisle talk about their concern about woke corporations, and I'm worried about woke corporations too. You want to make woke corporations a thing of the past? Make them accountable to the American worker. Empower the American worker. Give them a voice. That's the solution. Thank you, sir.
Now let's talk about something that should make every American stop and think. For years, we've watched giant corporations grow to unimaginable power. Companies like Amazon now bring in over $600 billion a year in sales, more than the GDP of some nations. Yet the people who make that possible, the workers, are paid less than $38,000 on average. Meanwhile, the top executives walk away with pay packages worth tens of millions. That's not capitalism. That's corporate exploitation dressed up as progress. And here's the part that should concern every American, regardless of political party. These corporations, many of which publicly align themselves with left-wing social causes, are the same ones refusing to treat their workers with basic fairness. They push diversity campaigns and environmental slogans, but behind closed doors, they fight tooth and nail to stop union negotiations, suppress wages, and avoid accountability. It's hypocrisy on a billion-dollar scale. For years, the Democratic Party has portrayed itself as the defender of the working class. But look around. The very corporations funding their campaigns are the ones exploiting American labor. Democrats talk about equity, but what they've really delivered is corporate dependency and global outsourcing. They tax small businesses into the ground, but turn a blind eye to multinational giants dodging taxes through loopholes written by their lobbyists. This is not what America was built on. Our nation was founded on the dignity of work, the idea that if you put in an honest day's labor, you should be able to raise a family, own a home, and build a future. Yet today, the average Amazon worker makes barely enough to survive, while their executives take home $40 million bonuses. At the same time, these companies spend millions on political activism and social causes that divide the country and distract from their labor practices. Let's be honest, the modern left has abandoned the American worker. Instead of standing up to corporate monopolies, they hide behind slogans and identity politics. Meanwhile, conservative leaders who actually talk about restoring American industry, bringing back jobs, and empowering workers are mocked as populists. But maybe that's exactly what this country needs, a populist movement that fights for American workers, not corporate elites. This is about more than wages. It's about sovereignty. When our biggest corporations treat American workers as disposable, when they push automation and offshoring while collecting taxpayer subsidies, they undermine the very foundation of national independence. A country that cannot provide dignified work for its citizens is a country slowly losing its freedom. We don't need socialism. We don't need massive government takeovers. What we need is a system that rewards hard work and loyalty to the nation. If a company grows rich in America, it should invest in American workers. If a business benefits from our laws and infrastructure, it should respect the people who make its success possible. That's not anti-business, that's common sense patriotism. Here's what we should be talking about: enforcing fair labor standards, rewarding companies that stay on American soil, and cutting off corporate welfare for those that refuse to treat employees fairly. And while we're at it, we should stop pretending that woke capitalism is somehow moral. It's not. It's manipulation, an expensive PR shield for greed. The truth is simple. If these megacorporations truly cared about fairness, they wouldn't spend years dodging labor negotiations. They wouldn't base their business model on 150% worker turnover rates. And they certainly wouldn't keep funneling campaign money to politicians who talk about justice while quietly protecting the status quo. Real justice means empowering workers without punishing success. It means restoring the balance between Main Street and Wall Street, between labor and leadership. And that begins with holding the political class accountable, especially those who pretend to represent working Americans while selling out to big donors. So here's the takeaway. America doesn't need more corporate slogans or political posturing. It needs leadership grounded in patriotism, accountability, and respect for the everyday citizen. That's how we build an economy that serves the people, not the elites. If you agree that it's time to put America's workers first and bring honesty back to our economy, hit that like button, share this video, and make sure you're subscribed. Every voice matters, and together we can remind this country who really keeps it running, the American worker.